Guys, my name is Jason Lowell. I want to talk to you about a term called selective mutism. Okay, to explain selective mutism, first I'm going to give you a description of it. Okay, selective mutism is known to have a poor understanding to the general public, according to Wikipedia. A February article, publication Med Health, describes this condition as a building tendency of anxiety. Now, what happens when we build anxiety? We become hyperactive. Okay, but that's not what this condition is yet. It's just a description of how it became a condition. Selective mutism. Communication action detriment is what I labeled it. Like severe instrumental action. Development and extreme social phobia. That's I'm almost a little bit on the right path, but let me explain it a little further. The social phobia of selective mutism is known to be popular with children. Don't disrespect your parents, by the way. Parents often think that the child is refusing, quote unquote, from this publication, that the child is refusing to speak, but usually the child is truly unable to speak in a certain situation. So like you're like talking to your kid and your kid is not responding and you're getting frustrated, don't beat your child. Usually you say something and the child imitates it. Takes them a while to do one of those issues. It develops imitation. There's certain tics. You have to look up the word tic. Certain conicals in life, like in the Bible, like mimicking was a sin. We see that a lot in commercials. It's very common. This condition is becoming very common as well. The condition ranges from cultures, genders, age, language. It's like moving to a total different country and not being able to communicate. What they're saying that selective mutism is that it's a condition that a person is totally normal 1 minute and the next they're catatonic for a month. Catatonic is a patient will hold a rigid pose for hours and ignore external stimuli, like what goes on in the abstract and introspection. They don't respond to it. It's a motor immobility. It's like using too much, and the only like treatments they have for that when it becomes catatonic is benzodiazepine or barbiturate. They have like electroconvulsive tests and therapy, which they do to a lot of war veterans that come out of extreme conditions of death and shootings and explosions, and they create that anxiety and fear. Alzheimer's disease is another description, and echolia, delayed echolia, is exoparexia. The frontal lobe gets damaged by this echo of mimicking that reoccurs, and it just continues in your mind, in the mind, not your mind, but in the mind, and the child just continues to have this delayed response, has to imitate what you say and then respond to it with an answer. There's different forms of echolia. That's why I say don't disrespect your parents, because in order to treat this, we have to encourage families and friends to participate And it's like resurrecting a spirit. Before drugs are involved, you may want to consider your health provider. Go to your health provider, and they'll be able to tell you more. Like, you see, I had delay responsive speech. It's another example of selective mutism, that catatonic state of not being able to speak, having a delayed response system. There it goes. It's a perfect example. Tourette's syndrome, because of eye blinking, coughing. It's like you're trying to think. I have another explanation, because the testing occurs. They have a test for it that you go to a doctor, they do a speech and language pathologist who does treatments and follows with a stimulus fading, like one-on-one. You're able to freely speak, or they have a shaping, gestures that they use to make you talk, or the person that's hindered, I meant. Self-modeling, like you video record yourself and see how you react and respond, and you fix it from there, like what I'm sort of doing right now, to fix the problem. See, what it does, it burns out your frontal lobes. You need your frontal lobes to develop the stimuli with this life that we have in order to hear your echo and the echolia to exist. That's why I say you be careful with who you mimic and how you're being mimicked, because you never know who may be able to develop this syndrome. It's dangerous. It can cause all types of what is the word that I'm looking for? Shell shocks. That catatonic shell shock that you have to have electroconvulsive therapy to get out of, medication, benzodiazepine, and the convulsive state of epilepsy attacks. You don't want to develop that. It's a psychiatric disorder which a person is normally able to speak and they become unable to. It's a common condition. This is social anxiety that causes shyness, and because of that, I believe, Jason Lowell, by the way, that if you take on a big social role with lots of people, and depending on what occurs with your support system, determines your conditioned structural traits. Because like superstars, they always experience a lot of people. Some people, they take on bigger roles to fit in certain social groups. That's why they say gender, age, culture, all these type of issues. And I just believe that superstars, especially superstars, because they take on a lot of thinkers at once, and that comes with a stimuli. You may not understand what I'm saying. I'll explain it further. The system of gratification in our civilization exists by reward or shame. Shame makes us embarrassed. They teach us to shame us when we're wrong and reward us when we're right, so we can continue that habitualization and that institution to get ahead and always choose the right steps. It's like the rat test with the electric. Do you want the blue or the red? You know. Okay. Shame can make us embarrassed. Embarrassment makes us hide within each other. It's like a turtle in a shell and not wanting to be seen. So therefore, I believe that this gratification system, and more than necessary occasions of hiding, we become apprehended in it. And the experience can supersede the human existence, causing that catatonic state of alienation, and you're outcasted from your original society. In reality principle, the things that occur, opposed to what we're assuming that's happening, there are plenty people types that can ruin our inanity, our inner states, because some folks are pessimistic and others are miserable, and you know the tenet to miserable, les miserables, misery needs company. So you never know what people's choices are when you're experiencing them in your echolia. And taking on a lot of people as celebrities, you may experience that more than often. And life would just supersede our natural existence, and experience this selective mutism in this completely shell-shocked world and extentialism. I gotta explain the term sensualism. Satire and the extential state is set forth with an apprehension that causes this anguish that doesn't exist in reality. It's in this other state of older people, the geriatrics, that are accustomed to that state because there are not many people in their age group, and most of the things that occur in the natural aren't really occurring that much anymore. Again, being active one moment and autistic thinking the next. And autistic thinking, like Votowski explains, is speaking has to become egotistical before it becomes conceptual. It has to be conceptual to be vocally communicated. So therefore, Votowski talks about it with Chaucer and Piaget, not like satire and extentialism, but the people, the founders of our communication understanding, how we teach, how language is predictive, and all these, what existed before we were born, exist as evolution to me telling you what I'm telling you now, on top of revolting itself in order to exist in its semiotic form. It just exists in an instrumental action. It just occurs whether it's unconscious or not. And in the case of consciousness exists whether you're conscious or unconscious. And that's it. It has to reach the conceptual state before being communicated. And I'm Jason Lowell, and that's my analysis of selective mutism and the catatonic state of extentialism before being communicated. Okay, also I wanted to say in communication and teaching, teachers always say in an assessment that there are high points to learning and low points. It takes a while for our brain to functionally understand things in order for it to become conceptual to ourselves before we are able to respond. This is another form of the selective mutism state. I'm developing that selective mutism speech impediment. I've been through this before. That's why I wanted to share this with you and hope that you understand more about it. Thanks a lot, guys. My name is Jason Lowell. I'm at my high point. I'll see you later.